Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back to my classroom. I am Mrs. Armstrong, and I teach elementary art at Sequoyah School in Claremore, Oklahoma. This is our last week of distant learning this week. So I am ending our art week with a folding surprise. I'm going to read the book, Clark the Shark, and then we're going to be drawing Clark the Shark, and there's a folding surprise on the inside. So you will need paper, pencil, markers, or crayons. So let's get started with our book, Clark the Shark, written by Bruce Hale, illustrated by Guy Francis. There he is, at school where we wish we were. Here's his school bus. It's a submarine. See it okay? All right. In all the wide blue seas, in all the wide blue world, the top school for fish was Theodore Roosterfish Elementary. And all the fish at Theodore Roosterfish, the biggest and the strongest, was Clark the Shark. Here he is trying to get out of his school bus. Clark loved school, and he loved his teacher, Mrs. Inkydink. He loved to play upsy-downsy and spin-a-majig with his friends. Clark loved his life. Here he is playing spin-a-majig, and this is his teacher, Mrs. Inkydink. School is awesome, shouted Clark the Shark. Less shouting, more reading, said Mrs. Inkydink. Lunch is sweet, yelled Clark the Shark. Munch your own lunch, said his best friend, Joey Mackerel. Recess rocks, bellowed Clark the Shark. You're playing rough, Clark, cried the other kids. Yes, Clark loved his life with all his sharky heart, but he loved everything way too much. He was too loud. He was too wild. He was just too much shark for the other fish to handle. After a while, no one would play with Clark. No one ate lunch with him. No one sat with him at circle time. Even his best friend, Joey Mackerel, said, "Cool your jets, Clark. You're making me crazy." So here he is, all alone, because he played too hard, too loud. One day, Clark asked Mrs. Inkydink, "What's wrong with everyone?" Mrs. Inkydink patted his fin. "Clark, sometimes you play too hard. You munch too hard. And gosh, you even help too hard. But life is so exciting," said Clark. "There's a time and a place for everything," said Mrs. Inkydink. "And sometimes the rule is stay cool." At recess, Clark tried to stay cool, but he pushed the swing with too much zing. "Sorry," said Clark, "I forgot." "Yikes," cried Joey Mackerel. At lunch, Clark tried to stay cool, but everything smelled so good that he munched a bunch of lunches. "Sorry, Clark, I forgot." "We're starving," said his friends. In class, Clark tried to stay cool, but a good book got him all shook up. "Now, Clark," said Mrs. Inkydink, "this isn't the time or the place. Tell me what's the rule." "Stay cool," said Clark. "Hey, that rhymes," he cried. Then Clark got a big idea in his sharky head. Maybe if I make a rhyme, I'll remember every time, he thought. The next day, he put his plan to work. In class, when lessons got exciting, Clark wanted to bounce up out of his seat. Instead, he told himself, when teacher's talking, don't go walking. And what do you know? It worked. Attaboy, Clark. Clark, said Mrs. Inky Dink. Clark smiled. Lessons are fun. At lunch, everything smelled so yummy. When Clark wanted to eat and never stop, he told himself, only munch your own lunch. And it worked again. Way to go, Clark, said his friends. Clark grinned. Lunch is fun. At playtime, Clark told himself, easy does it, that's the way. Then my friends will let me play. And playtime was fun. Once more, Clark loved his life. But then a shadow fell across the playground, a ginormous shadow with tentacles galore. It's a new kid, and he looks scary, cried Joey Mackerel. Swim for your lives. The squid squashed the slide, and it snapped off the swings. Oops, my bad, said the new kid. Well, said Clark, he just wants to play. Let's find a way. And he swam at the new kid with all his might. Clark played harder than he ever had before. Upsy, downsy, and spin-em-a-jig. Why, he even made a new game, Tail Wampalompus. Wow, that was fun, said the new kid breathlessly, and he settled down. If you want to come to school, you've got to stay cool, said Clark. That's right, Clark, said Mrs. Inky Dink, and thanks for taking care of our new classmate, Sid the Squid. Hooray for Clark the Shark, everyone cheered. That night, Clark's mother asked, what did you learn at school, dear? There's a time and a place for everything, Clark said. Sometimes you stay cool. But sometimes a shark's gotta do what a shark's gotta do. The end. All right. So there's Clark the shark. Now we're going to draw a shark, and we're going to turn him into Clark. So I'm going to blacken the background. And we're going to pull this up so we're close. Now, the first thing we're going to need to do, though, is to get our paper set up, because this one is a folding surprise. So turn your paper long ways, and you're going to fold it in half. Crease it down the middle. So we folded it from the top to the bottom. And now you're going to pick up this first flap, and you're going to fold it to the top. So that it looks like this. So we folded it down, take the first flap, fold it up, turn it over, and you're going to take this flap now and fold it up. So it kind of looks like this. Now the fold that we just folded up, just fold it back down for now. Turn it to the front and it looks like this. So if you lift up this top part, it will open up like that. Now I'm drawing mine on a big piece of paper, and so that you can see the folds, I have created some dotted lines. So you don't have to put dotted lines on yours. So basically, this is my big piece of paper that I folded down, folded this flap up, flipped it over, folded this flap up, crease it, let it come down, fold it back to the front. So this bottom piece will stay at the bottom, and the flap that opens up goes at the top. So get this back started. Okay, get you a pencil, eraser. I will be drawing with a marker so that you can see it easier. Now, our folding surprise is going to end up looking like this. So here's Clark saying, "Stay cool." But before he learned stay cool, he was loud and he played hard. So inside, he's yelling, "Lunchtime is sweet. School is awesome. Recess rocks." Mrs. Inky Dink says, "Stay cool." And then that's when it goes back down to stay cool. And then whatever time you have left over, you can work on your background. So this is kind of what it looks like when he's folded up. So basically, you're going to do half of a circle at the top to the fold, and then a half a circle at the bottom on the bottom fold. So I'm going to kind of start up here at the top. You need to leave some room at the top for his fin and his hat. So I'm going to start about right here. Do a circle coming down, and then let's go to the other side. Circle going down. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle, so get it as close as you can. And make these meet right there. All right, so we have our circle for our shark. Let's put on two big eyes. And you can make him looking at whatever you want him to be looking at. I'm going to be writing "stay cool" over here, so I'm going to have him looking that direction. I'm going to put his little eyes over like that. And then you can color that in black, or you can wait until a little bit later. So I'm going to give him two little nose holes right here in the front. Is that pretty close? Is that close enough? All right, now his shark fin. We'll also be putting a hat up here, but since you're drawing with pencil, you'll be able to erase a little bit. So I'm just going to put on a shark fin, and whenever I draw my hat, some of this will be in it, but that's okay. So if you want to go ahead and put his fin on there, if we want to go ahead and draw his hat. Now, if you don't want to turn yours into Clark, you can just leave it as a shark. So I'll just draw him right now as a shark, and then we'll come back in and dress him up. So his bottom fins will be down here. So I'm just going to barely draw right in there because that's where his sleeve's going to be. And then here's the end of his fin. And then kind of down this way. Just do some little dotted lines in there because I'm going to put a shirt on him. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put his shirt on. That way I know where his little t-shirt's going to go. I'm going to draw across right there. Turn this into a sleeve. I think he looks cute as Clark the shark. Put some little gills on him. Now I'm going to open him up. We can do the inside, and then we'll come back and decorate him. So now you get to draw his huge mouth when he's loud. I'll open this up. I think that'll stay down. All right. So this line has to go all the way down and meet up with this line. Just kind of meet here in the middle, like that. And then on this side, straight down. And I'm going to start on this one and go up. Now the key, everything on the inside, you want to be hidden so that when he closes up, the only part you see is the top part and the bottom part. So it's very important now that everything we draw stays inside the folds. Now I have mine dotted. You don't have to do that. You should be able to see your folds. So now let's draw his mouth. So I'm just going to kind of draw another line going beside that line, but I'm staying below this fold and staying above that fold. So I'm going to do that on both sides because he has a really wide mouth. And then I'm just going to kind of circle that around. And of course he has huge shark teeth. So put on some shark teeth. And shark teeth on the bottom. Probably should have got one more in there. All right, now his tongue. His tongue almost looks like a heart shape. Just as long as you're in the center part, it's fine. So I'm just going to start in the middle, kind of circle it around. There's his tongue. And then the back of his throat. We're going to put the little hangy down thing that's in the back of your throat. So I'm just going to start on the top of his tongue. Circle around. Put the little punching bag looking shape in there and circle back around. So when you color, this will all be black because it's going down his throat. And then you can do like 2 shades of red. So I think that's basically our shark. I'm going to add his hat on. Now on his hat, I'm going to get kind of closer so that you can see this part. I'm going to put the bill of the hat on first. So I'm just going to curve it up and around. And then this is going to be kind of the bill of his hat. And then the cap of his hat, I'm just going to circle in right there. And then whenever we color it, if you've got pencil, you'll be able to erase those lines right there. And on his hat, he has a little yellow oval. So I'm going to kind of draw that in. And then that will be yellow. And then I'm going to put his stripes on his shirt. Let me hold this up here a little bit so that I can get that a little closer. I'm just going to come across this way for his striped shirt. However many stripes you want to put on there. Stripes on his sleeves. And you can color this any color you want. If you look at the book, he's wearing red and white. But I think that's it. Unless you want to write the words, I can go ahead and do that. And then we can kind of color. So I'm going to write Clark the Shark up here. And I'm going to stay above the fold so that you can see that when it's folded up. And over here, I want to write stay cool. Exclamation point, and then I'll put up my little speech bubble around it. And then on the inside, if you want to write some of the other things that he's yelling out since his mouth is so big, once in the book he screams out, "Lunchtime is sweet." Remember, this is in between the big folds in the middle. Lunch time is, and on the word sweet, put in some extra E's. Some quotation marks around it, and then add your speech bubble wherever you're wanting that to start. Mine's going to go off the page a little bit like that. School is awesome. Another speech bubble. And then recess, rocks. All right, there he is. Now it's just coloring time. You might mix it up. When I colored on mine, I used a little bit of crayon and a little bit of marker. So I may do some marker first, color in some of his hat. Maybe when I color this in, you won't be able to see my black line as much through it. As I'm coloring, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in and watching my lessons, and those of you that have been participating and sending them to me through Facebook or email. I want to thank you guys for participating. I really appreciate it. This is all new to us, so we are enjoying it. I'm enjoying seeing your artwork. Even though this is my last day, if you draw something at home and you want to show it to me, I will leave that group page up on Facebook. I'd love to see what you're drawing. So I'm just kind of coloring every other one red, basically. Not a lot of color on this. We've got some red going on. And then, of course, he's gray. So you can get that done. And then you can take some markers and color in some water around him if you want to. It's not my best coloring. Kind of hard coloring sideways. And then I'm going to do some shout outs for Frida Kahlo's Parrots from last week. I have 3 winners on that I have sent ribbons out to. So my marker seems to already be running out of some ink. It's another reason why I like to use crayons, even though markers are darker. And then you might want to use crayon. I colored in a lot darker on his tongue and then lighter back here in the background, black down his throat. Might want to darken in his eyes. Get that colored in. Okay. He's coming along. I'd love to see your sharks. So you can post them to my Facebook. See what they look like. And then I'm going to move this over. I'm going to do my shout out For my Frida Kahlo Parrot winners from last week, we have Emerson from 2nd grade. These are all Sequoyah students. Liam from 5th grade. And Allie, is this in the way? And Allie from 1st grade. And then if you're wanting my Facebook page so that you can post some pictures, it's Mrs. Armstrong's art class, Sequoyah Elementary, Claremore, Oklahoma. And then I have a couple shark jokes. Here's one. What do you get when you cross a shark with a snowman? Let's see if this will work. Frostbite. And why do sharks prefer living in salt water? Because pepper makes them sneeze. All right. I want to thank you guys again. Let me back this up one so my Facebook page is still up there. And I'd love to see your finished sharks. I'll do a 1st, 2nd, 3rd place again. So get them all colored, get some background in. And there he is. I think the light's shining on him. Turn this back off now. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in August.